Final game, this final series in our first ever set of 7, or sorry, our second technically, both of them going to the third best of 7 series.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting at the top of OCE. We're just going to ignore that first series completely. The second series, absolutely nuts. So if it's half as exciting as that, it's going to be a great series here.
I can't believe that it has gone this way, and I'm imagining what would happen if Renegades do lose this final one, which is slightly expected here because they surely could have taken that second series, especially off that one game, that game number 7 or 6, where CJ really could have secured the game.
Yeah, no, it was just, that was so close, that series. There's so many chances they could probably think back on the misses, but yeah, that open net miss from CJ, devastating. And yeah, we'll see how good Renegades are at just completely resetting.
Once again, we're in a situation where this first game, incredibly crucial. Ground Zero were able to get off to a good start in the last one, and it really did them favors. I feel like if Renegades had won that first one, then Ground Zero would have been in all sorts. But now it's stayed pretty even, and this is very similar to the end of the last series, starting to look a little closer and a little bit safer between these two teams.
Yeah, it does feel like it's important for Renegades to win this first series because that's been their strength. They've been strong starters. Ground Zero not so much, but I'm nervous for them, Yummy. It really feels like Ground Zero have the momentum here.
Oh, see good momentum. CJ looking for the own goal. The El Clasico from CJ. Always lives in Turbo Pulse's footsteps in that regard, but at least they hold out for now. CJ does have to get it clear. It's a rough one as Torsos may get a chance of a double. Goes for the extra touch against the roof, and it's saved out by Fever.
Yeah, you can see him playing for the image there. He knows, Kami knows that he always double touches that, so he slows it down, and that's why his team is still keeping this pressure, and Renegades are still on the backboard, just panicking, but that's safe enough at the moment.
Well, they've been able to hold out on a scary defense like this, but it has been quite panicky. No real chances to pass out a defense where they like to go, and it's actually down the other end with demos and bumps in front of the net. Kami looking for the dish. Instead, it's going to be Fever. Where the shot? It almost sinks in. It's still open. Oh, Ground Zero won't get scored on. Renegades left wanting.
Wow, that was crazy. I don't blame Renegades for not expecting that. It was a little random, but so frustrating for Renegades having that slide by.
Fever now has a chance. He's got the flip reset. He opts to bounce away from it, and Renegades may have been able to score off these fantastic plays that Fever have been able to bring out all series long, but every one of Ground Zero seem capable of doing just that, scoring by themselves.
Yeah, they've also been very solid at defending those kind of plays we've seen from Fever. Fever has been dangerous all day, but honestly, Ground Zero defending really well.
Yeah, Direwolves really couldn't live up to the defense when Fever was on board, and even though Fever has had some great plays in this one, for the most part throughout second series, Ground Zero were able to shut him down. Dorsos again looking for a double in case that would be a triple off the roof. CJ out there for the pass, but the angle's not good enough. Dorsos wanted that to be a pass too, and we're seeing the connections from both teams. A huge risk here for Ground Zero, but thankfully for them, not beaten to the ball.
Dorsos looking so confident and so dangerous at the moment. Almost too confident though there. And here's actually a big mistake. Everyone getting a bit confused and express passing to CJ.
And Torsos tried to dive across the ball, but it was too little too late after the double triple commit.
Oh no.
And CJ will find an angle. Good follow-up from from Renegades.
Yeah, well played there from CJ, opening up in this tight game. Like we were saying, it's important Renegades open the scoring here and really make the most of this game, but we've seen neither team can be safe with a 1-goal lead.
Memphis in this defense, he's dribbled it out from there quite often throughout this series. Same with Torsos. So CJ, he's found that out of nowhere. The defense were ready, and yet he's up there beating them to the ball.
Very quick touches, just one after the other, and Express just not ready for that slight touch that CJ gets to get it around him.
Jake, why can he hit those with pinpoint accuracy, but if it's right in front of the net, it's going to go sideways?
That's the mystery only CJ could answer for you.
Detective Jake on the job, can't even solve this mystery. Ground Zero, though, it's no mystery that this is a rough start for them in this final series, guaranteed final series of the day now. Whoever wins this best of 7 takes it all out, and Renegades almost getting that 3rd goal.
It feels like Ground Zero have started well, though. It's just Renegades playing really well, especially CJ with these finishes.
He's done it again. CJ, the double off the backboard. He's coming in clutch, and I think he really just wanted to make up for that game 6 of the last series.
Oh, he's definitely making up for it now, or at least putting his team in the best position he can at the moment.
I think if you get this game and it's all on CJ's back, then it doesn't matter that that one game went poorly, despite the ramifications of it. Ground Zero aren't really going to have a chance here, but they may be able to get 1 goal on the board. They've shown at times throughout this game that they can put Renegades in a tough spot in defense, but they haven't been pinning themselves on either end. They haven't given themselves those counter-attack opportunities. It's actually Ground Zero kind of just playing a more of a midfield game.
Yeah, Dorsal's gone for a pretty sick pre-jump. You're right, I mean, it's been very back and forth for both teams, but Renegades definitely getting the better of it for this first game. And like we said, it's important because Ground Zero just seems so much better in the closing parts of these series.
Kami is going to get this last clear out as Ground Zero left scoreless. And Renegades game 1 starting off the final series with the momentum.
Yeah, that's really important for Renegades, I think. They're going to be feeling good. They've been so good at starting out strong, and that's what you want to see from CJ. They're also starting to liven up a bit. We were talking earlier, it looked a bit dead all day on the cameras. Been very focused, just very calm, but now you can see CJ very happy with himself after that game.
And Kami brought out his hoodie too. He is in New Zealand and on the South Island, down in Christchurch, where it gets quite cold at night, even in the spring. So that's why that's coming out, and that might help him stay warm, keep his hands warmed up as well. We'll see if that is the case. But game 1 looks so much more like series 1.
Well, I still feel like Ground Zero playing so much better. I mean, the score line was definitely reminiscent of Series 1, but Ground Zero looked so much more solid. It was really like CJ popping off to get those goals, and you know, the first one, it was Ground Zero all over the place. So I'm expecting Ground Zero to get some goals and for this second game to be close.
You missed out on the webcam there. There's CJ explaining how much of a mad lad he is. Oh yeah, I do that every day of the week. I haven't missed any nets today.
Yeah, CJ, no, it's good to see them in good spirits again, honestly. I think it'll be really good for the team morale to get them through this long series.
I think even just those kind of jokes that CJ does make raises the morale. Kami calls him an idiot, and that makes everyone laugh too, and it is a really good team atmosphere. But that can be said exactly the same for Ground Zero, just in a kind of different way, where they're really getting hyped up and really pushing hard and taking it to that next level just through every single goal that happens.
Yeah, you could see just how, you know, excited and hyped Torsos was in that last series. Me and Bass were laughing about him scaring his dog when he slammed the desk. And it's just that passion, I feel like, really helps him in those clutch moments.
Renegades will be looking to get off to a strong start again. They took the first 2 games and it felt like that was enough. And CJ, well, he continues on another net, but it was a pass that set it all up.
And another double commit there from Ground Zero, but Renegades just beautifully punished. I was just not able to do anything against that.
And think about the kind of end part of that last series. Renegades, in those situations, were always taking the shot because Ground Zero was starting to shut down every pass play, and they were getting nervous. They're back into these pass plays in a 2v1 situation and really throwing off that Ground Zero defense now.
Yeah, Renegades, they've honestly been playing very quick, catching Ground Zero off guard. And Ground Zero, you can see how aggressive they're playing. Emphasis, third man just going in without any fear. And it's starting to bite them when Renegades are even faster.
CJ's the last one with boost, so valuable that he takes it down the other end. He may even score a goal. That was incredibly close. What has CJ done in the break to make himself this much more powerful, leveling up as goes over 9,000 here. Renegades, wow, they're starting to be able to rely on him heavily in the attack.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you remember all the way back, Split 2 spring last year, it was off the back of CJ that got them that win, but Fever, being new to the roster, really has brought firepower of his own.
Well, CJ was the one so close, ready to push forward, trusting that Fever would be able to get that angle. A 2-goal lead here, but Ground Zero are yet to score a goal.
Yeah, it feels like this series is just slipping away fast from Ground Zero. It's, you know, two games down is difficult to get back from in these best of 7. So we're really hoping to see Ground Zero, you know, get on the scoreboard.
It was that event number 2 in the first split of last season where I was surprised that I had to say that CJ was the best player in OCE at the time. He's living up to that potential again, and he's doing it in multiple ways. Previously, it was all about playing fast and going for these dribbles, but now the speed is just enough on its own.
Yeah, well, he's certainly the best player on the pitch in this series. Like you said, I don't know what happened, but Ground Zero, they're really pushing aggressively, and they want to make this comeback.
Oh, this is a tough touch and a tough ask for the defense on Renegades, but Torsos can't find the angle. They're still looking for these passes, Renegades, it feels like, but the passes come the other way too. CJ up for the clear, but this could be a chance for Ground Zero if they can keep it in the attack. Not for very long, as the halfway point does tick over. Ground Zero not getting a concerted effort at the other end.
Yeah, Renegades keeping up that really nice passing out of defense that's kept them going so well and scoring them plenty of counterattack goals.
Oh, a miss there from Kami. It's not a miss, it's a missed touch, and that could have been brutal, but the clear out even worse for Ground Zero. Fever coming in for the 50, and it's a bump and a demo that opens it up at the other end. Express just has to get whatever touch he can. That opens it up for CJ. Pressure play now starting for the Renegades. They go for the pass in the center. It works out. A demo again. Fever another opportunity, but it pinches down there for the Ground Zero roster.
Really nice recoveries there from Amphis. I think that would have been a goal for a lot of teams that didn't have Amphis on them. So really well played from them. Feels like this series is just so high quality, but still Renegades dominating despite Ground Zero playing well.
This is starting to look more and more like that first series, and worrying here for the Ground Zero roster. Going down 2 games might be devastating. It might make it very difficult to come back, and that's perfect. But Fever, always dependable in net, and another huge save.
Yeah, just so excellent at those clutch saves all day and doing them even when they matter most.
CJ was trying to find another tricky angle, this time a little bit too difficult, but he's still just going up. There's 60 seconds, mate. You don't need to push that hard for a goal, but he's still in a position where he can go for bumps, he can go for tricky plays from behind the defenders, and that makes them more awkward, worrying about how to get out. Another shot here, but Kami this time on the backboard, and he's going to take it out by himself. Get the flip reset to take out one player from Ground Zero, and 30 seconds starting to die down in terms of the hopes for Ground Zero.
I tell you what though, Yummy, we're starting to see Amphis really aggressively push forward, and when he starts doing that, that's when he really starts popping off. So it might be too late in this game unless... No, great defense here from Kami.
We haven't seen the demos though coming out from Ground Zero, which was the huge turnaround point in that last series, and this is too little too late. They're going to be looking for those maybe in game number 3, or maybe they'll be happy with their ability to win from this point, but they haven't scored a goal in the series yet.
Oh, and it's just unheard of, right? Can't even score in their own net, I guess, for Amphis there. Yeah, it's just Renegades have been controlling the pressure so well, and just even defending on the line, just doing it all.
He's a master in the defense. Fever holding on strong. CJ getting all the goals, and Renegades, they could take this. Do what they did in the first series. Keep it close, get that overtime win in the first series. Maybe they can just keep this momentum up and keep Ground Zero scoreless. And then just take it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, Ground Zero, they're in a tough situation now. It's that point, they're 2-0 down. They really need this win. They can't let themselves have to reverse sweep Renegades, especially a Renegades playing this well. And it's just difficult for Ground Zero because it feels like they're playing well. It's just Renegades have reached and found something more to just start dominating again.
Maybe it's just about giving CJ confidence. Maybe there's like, CJ, why aren't you going for stuff? Why aren't you moving forward? We need you to be disruptive. We need you to be chaotic. It's why this new Renegades roster has been so good. You've got Fever, really, really solid all around at both ends, plays very defensively and gives room. Kami, a very supportive player who, again, can single-handedly hold a defense.
Yeah.
And then you've got CJ, who's meant to be pushing forward and just being an absolute nuisance. So unless he's doing that, it is a problem.
No, I agree with you, Yummy. Yeah, that's where CJ wants to be. He wants to be that fast, chaotic player, and he's doing it great this series. And you got to remember as well, this is the first time these guys have played in months, so there's so much room for from both teams to adapt, change, and figure out what works best.
And it feels like adaptation back and forth, though. Scary one there as Express getting the 50. It's cleared out instead by Kami to relieve some of that pressure on the Renegades defense. Ampha's trying to get a bit of a clear, but ends up touching it straight towards Kami. Never going to be really too threatening up there, but it may just use the boost away from Ground Zero, who are all pretty much full. So are the Renegades players, and CJ just going to opt to stay with the ball. Maybe try and beat out one player. It's going to bounce to Kami. A chance in front of net, but Amphis, he reads that every time.
Yeah, and that's a tough read, so it just goes to show just how solid he is in defense. There's CJ, but a crazy save from Torsus. Oh my god, this pressure is insane, but on the counterattack, Amphis with a flip reset, but Renegades, they're back in defense as well.
Yeah, Fever running straight back early on that play, and that demo is huge. It just needs to be a good shot, and it is! Kami straight into the center of net, doesn't overdo it, but it is enough to get past the last defender.
Yeah, beautiful demo there from Fever. You don't normally see them from him, but so impactful, and just when this game is so back and forth, when you're relying on one person back, that's when those demos are that much better.
Fever also went after Express straight afterwards, and I don't know if it really made a difference, but it did force Express to have to avoid him, and that could have been all the difference depending on Kami's shots. This is very, very close. That one's off, though, and that could have been the equalizer. Ground Zero not quite finding these angles just yet.
Yeah, they're getting close, though. I still can't believe they've been completely shut out still, but with shots like that, it can't be for too much longer.
CJ caught off guard by the power of that double tap, or double jump tap, I should say. As Fever goes for a pre-flip, he gets a lot of angle on that one. This is good for Xanthus. Shot on net, but once again, Fever's holding the net.
God, Fever is just so consistent in defense, but when we think of him, we think of those crazy double tap flip resets we saw earlier, so Fever, such a great addition everywhere on the field.
He hasn't truly been necessary in the attack thus far, as Torsos bringing out the flip reset mechanics, bringing out the air dribble mechanics as well. As Ground Zero still scoreless in the series, 12 minutes 50 in, CJ looking for a second one. And how do you do this? How do you hold Ground Zero to 0 goals?
Just with this defense, just Renegades, they're just respecting the solo plays, rotating very quickly, and just not giving them space to outplay them.
Fever definitely rushing back to make sure that it's always covered. Amphis, on the other hand, moving forward now. We're seeing the confidence as he goes for bumps, as he tries to get into a redirect position. Torsos up to it quickly, but he doesn't have the true support there. Fever, you can see shadowing. It's going to put him in a difficult position in terms of bumps, but he avoids every single one of them, and then gets it down all the way to the other end with a couple of 50s. Torsos is going to keep it in the mix, go for a shot, but it's a solid read by the defender just to get that extra touch and avoid the shot. Kami, though, still in trouble. CJ's got him backed up. Amphis looking for a goal of his own. It's right in front of net. It will get saved out again by Fever, who gets the follow-up touch at the breakout. Can it be a goal? A demo in front of net. It was meant to be on Torsos. None of the Renegades members could catch up to the ball.
How are Renegades still holding on? It's almost been 3 entire games. Surely this is it, but no, they're still in defense to keep it out.
They have held on for so long, but now you're seeing Ground Zero being so threatening, and it feels like only a matter of time before Renegades do concede one. But it's this man right here that's doing so much work in that regard. Fever has been preventing every goal at the line. A demo from Kami playing very aggressive. That's got to be dangerous. I guess not, because Fever could do it all. Even in the midfield, he's shutting the players. It happens. CJ forcing the defender to go up. A minute left here for Ground Zero, and it couldn't just be the game, it could be the tournament if Renegades go on to that match point.
Well, how are you expecting to reverse sweep a team playing this well? They can't even score a single goal on them, and Renegades just defending so well. Ground Zero throwing everything at them, but it still feels so dangerous, as if Ground Zero about to get scored on as well.
Great touch by Kami as well to keep it around from Ground Zero. A pass back to Kami, but they saw it happening. It's still a staunch play. It's right in front of net. It's just gonna go in, and Renegades, surely this is enough.
Oh, beautiful pass play there. Kami somehow gets forward, and CJ and Kami combining somehow to get it over. And, oh, Ground Zero, they still haven't scored, and they need 2 in 30 seconds.
Okay, nobody in the history of Rocket League would have thought that you could, even in a best of 5, perfect sweep Torsos, the greatest player in OCE history, or the most careered veteran of the scene. He might be about to be in that situation unless they score in the next 10 seconds. And it's even possible he could get perfect swept in a best of 7. And it's gonna be the case!
No.
He's missed it! The Torsos veterancy doesn't come into effect. Renegades 3 games in a row. They go to match point.
Oh my god, Yoni, this entire set has just been insane. So difficult to predict. How have Renegades come out so strong, and especially so defensively strong, to shut out Ground Zero is just nuts.
I do not believe what is happening. I started doubting my Renegades vote, because why wouldn't I? Ground Zero are the late series comebackers of the region, and yet Renegades have once again taken it to a new level.
No, Renegades just playing incredibly. You heard Fever, they've been working hard in the offseason, and you see it. Renegades have never been a defensive team. When they've tried to be a defensive team, they've lost so much, but it's just working perfectly for them right now. And like you said, if this was a best of 5 to perfect sweep Torsos and Anthers is just insane, and the possibility is still there to do it in this best of 7.
Absolutely incredible. Torsos, of course, being that player who missed right in those final seconds to maybe break that perfect sweep in terms of the best of 5 results. We're now 4 games in a row of match point for the Renegades. You saw that on the camera. It was on the camera when that happened. A little bit of disappointment, but it was also a bit of a cheeky laugh for him.
No, I think they're still feeling okay. You know, they had that crazy, comeback just from that first set, or the first series, and then to bring it now. These guys are confident. I mean, they'll back themselves to reverse sweep, but statistically, and I mean, especially after not being able to score, that is difficult.
Well, they do go for the tactical timeout, and history is once again on Torsos' side. He did reverse sweep CJ in a qualifying match for Worlds back in RLCS Season 7. In the upper bracket, they were down 3 games, managed to reverse CJ and Express, but we won't mention that. And, that was that first major best of 7 reverse sweep we saw. He's going to back himself up to do it again.
Yeah, but just like with the Renegades playing this well, how can you not back them to at least win one of the next 4 games?
Yeah.
Like, Ground Zero, they're going to have to start this game out so strong, probably the next game out so strong, and then by then, Renegades might start sweating, but it's still a long road to get even there.
It's a huge long road, but maybe we find ourselves in another game 7. If Ground Zero can turn this around quickly, get that first goal on the board, but as you've been saying, Renegades have worked on their defense so much in the offseason that they've completely turned around the structure of this team.
Yeah, and again, it's just surprising Ground Zero. They haven't seen it. They haven't respected it, and they certainly have not been ready for it, especially when it's working as smoothly as it is right now.
Oh, Express was looking for the double there, and it almost worked out better that Renegades didn't go for the extra touch. A chance here for Ground Zero, though, as it is right in front of the net. Not going to be the goal, though, as it continues. There we go. Ambers puts it in.
Oh, it was still a little bit sus going in. A few misses, but we finally got there, and Renegades already looking a little bit panicked. Maybe the pressure's getting to them.
Ground Zero up by 1. The first goal in the series. They do at least avoid a perfect sweep in a best of 7. But the fact that we even have to mention that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, again, the fact that we have to mention it in a grand final, but I'm not even sure how this one went, Yummy. It just kind of rolled in a bit slowly.
CJ with the double, and he gets the right angle even if he doesn't get the power. Fever was in there once again going for those bumps. Absolutely ridiculous how physically aggressive he is going in this series. And we'll see, are they able to continue this Renegades? Because Ground Zero finally have their first blood. They're going to have more confidence now after that timeout.
Yeah, they'd have to, and it's definitely disappointing to get, equalized so soon after finally getting the lead. But again, I think they'll be in high spirits. They're going to be hyped up. They know they need to win, but boy, Renegades are still looking so dangerous.
More shots on, but that's just a shot from the midfield. Ground Zero in the last series, remember, they were so controlled of every single ball. A nice touch by Fever right in front of net. Goes low, goes
beautiful.
Underneath, and Fever finds one for himself.
And CJ so fast here, aerialing so nicely, getting such a high touch, and Fever so quick to the ball to get it under Torsos.
He really dipped underneath that one and pushed it up and also to the right, despite the fact he was coming from that right-hand side. That made it all the better here for the Renegades and way more likely to beat Ground Zero, who is once again finding themselves in a tough spot as Torsos looking maybe to do a bit too much in the defense there. And that's open. That's a goal. CJ
no.
again.
Oh, Renegades not letting Ground Zero get away with any mistake, just pushing them so hard in offense, and CJ being the leader of it.
And that's why CJ's been so good. Sure, we've seen him struggle at times of being too close, but he's playing so aggressively that there's these random goals like that one that come out of nowhere because he's reacted fast, he's been in the right position to make it work. They're in a 2-goal lead, which is more than they had in for most of the last game. They may just be able to hold on to that one.
I mean, the way they're not looking to hold on. They'll probably try and finish this 4-5-1, and Ground Zero, it's going to be so frustrating. They finally got a goal. Finally, things are looking good. And again, CJ somehow getting that goal.
Oh, you see the cheeky tongue come out. He's started to love it. And Fever finds CJ, who steals it away. But who cares? A goal's a goal. 3 in the lead. And Ground Zero, they can't afford to give up this time.
No, Ground Zero, we won't be seeing trolling out of them. They still have 3 minutes, which is plenty of time.
I think Torsos may give up after this one. There's a face palm. He just fell off the crossbar. And oh no.
And a bit of a ghost hit as well. He's taking it well, but that would be so frustrating.
Well, even if he did touch that, I think the little amount of contact, it still would have gone into the net. A 4-goal lead here for Renegades. They could say that they are the first team in OCE history to go 4-0 against Ground Zero twice in one day, despite the fact that it was a 3-4 there as well. This is dominant from Renegades, and it's awesome to see the amount of work getting paid off after their off-season.
Yeah, they've just improved so much as a team, and they were great initially, but they've really worked at it, really created a new, really consistent style. And with 2 minutes remaining, it's hard to think how Ground Zero can come back.
And this is beautiful because they're showing consistency from the off-season into the main tournaments too. They're really performing in scrims, in the smaller tournaments, and normally they haven't been able to convert. Well, they might have shut up their doubters today. This is the second time as well. The last split, they took down Ground Zero in the grand final in the second event. At the very beginning of RLCS 21-22, it looks like they're doing it again.
Yeah, and just the clock keeps going down, and 4 goals is just an insane margin. It just does not look like it's going to happen. Renegades still just defending so cleanly, and they don't even have to make those crazy saves we've seen earlier in this series.
Ground Zero at least did get 1 goal. Remember, 1 goal in this entire series so far. For Ground Zero, they would never have been beaten like this before. Not a single one of them. And a minute remaining, they could be beaten by even more. Still, Renegades are looking for these shots.
No, the tides have certainly shifted in OCE. Ground Zero so dominant last year, every tournament they went into. But now Renegades, the clear favorites and the clear best team in OCE.
Good pass play, but as you said, not going to go anywhere. And Renegades, they've always been the most threatening team. No matter where you look at it, even when Cringe Society came second in the championship, it was Renegades that always felt like they could have the big day to take down Ground Zero. And now they're actually able to do that in the most important event. They're so close to securing this major, because first here means that they can afford a 5th to 8th maybe, or at least a top 4, and then maybe a grand final somewhere else and pretty much cruise through to that major.
I mean, even with a 5th to 8th, they still have that 1 point advantage, which is just going to matter so much in those tiebreakers.
They'll still be a team that looks so consistent right now that it's going to be hard to take them out. And we talked about this earlier. Ground Zero became a real question mark through the offseason. Didn't play a single tournament. Maybe missed out on some of that grind. The fact that they didn't get the practice against Renegades, maybe that really hurt them in more ways than one. Not just in this series, but potentially also in the Riot series. But here we go. Renegades, in the dying moments, have made a massive comeback from RLCS 9, 5th place, RLCS Season 10, 3rd place, and now Renegades are your RLCS 21-22 Oceania Regional 1 champions. Huge performance out here from the Renegades, and to dominate Ground Zero in this series, but also in that first series, Jake, is completely unheard of.
No, it's just, no one could have expected this coming in. Like, we saw Renegades, they looked great. You're right, Ground Zero, they had a big question mark, but just to have it like that, 2 4-0s, that first series, so just dominant. Even that series so dominant as well. Ground Zero, they really have to hit the drawing board.
They do. And they could probably chalk it up today to having a rough start, not playing as well as they should have mechanically. And I think that's fair, but not necessarily where they want to be, because always in the past, even when they weren't having the best day, it was enough to take a win. But the region has stepped up, Renegades have stepped up, but so have everybody else, and there's no chance for them to have bad days. They need to find that consistency from here on out.
Yeah, and now it just shakes up OCE so much. Just you saw like Riot could have even taken out Ground Zero in the semis today, which would have just been absolutely insane. We had Direwolves, they look like they got absolutely crushed, but I mean, with the Renegades playing that well, it's hard to know what Direwolves versus Ground Zero matchup would look like.
And Bass, what did you think of that series? You got to do this game 7, dipped out for both 4-0s, so surely you got a lot to say.
I mean, listen, the number one thing I'm going to say here is, who would have thought on a day where Renegades set the greatest differential in RLCS history in a best of 7, that would be their second most impressive best of 7 result. A single goal through 4 games against Ground Zero. That, I mean, you talk about not expecting the 4-0. If a single one of you can tell me that you expected a single goal from Ground Zero, you guys or Twitch chat, $1,000 to you. There's no way.
Yeah, especially after that second series as well. Ground Zero, they were warmed up, they were hitting crazy shots, they were playing well, and then they looked good, and it was just Renegades hitting another complete level with their defense just to shut them out.
It really did look like how they handled Direwolves, but there's got to be celebrations all around, and CJ, he's coming on. A huge victory, surely a huge smile. Congratulations, you only missed a few open nets today, but you played admirably or exceptionally through that last series.
Yeah, thanks. Certainly, obviously, firstly, yeah, super happy. Thanks, shout out to Renegade, shout out to the sponsors. Get to do that. Get out of the way first. Shout out to you, Josh. Yeah, awesome. Obviously, the first regional of the season on the board, and it's just a different format for us. Like the sets of, the 3 best of 3 sets of whatever, sets of 7, best of 7. Yeah, it was interesting for us. So it was certainly something we had to sort of deal with. And yeah, just I guess for us, the first series was obviously a bit of a whitewash, and yeah, we were pretty sort of annoyed at how they were playing in the last game of that series when we 10-0'd them, and I think we probably just took that into the next series, and I guess we probably spent the whole time just being a bit annoyed instead of actually focusing on us, and then we really just hit our straps in that last series, and just all the the synergy really came together, and I think that's what you guys saw.
we really saw the synergy in that last series. I would say that that's kind of what propelled you guys to that, because we were talking about it. The first series, it kind of seemed like you were the highlight player. You were hitting goals like crazy. You weren't giving any sort of chances at ground zero. Second series, it seems to get a little bit more balanced out. But the third one is where all of you guys stepped up. I've got nothing but compliments for you guys, but how does it feel to have a team here where it kind of is all three of you can pop off at any moment? And even if you're not necessarily at your peak, you've got teammates who can back you up.
I mean, it's awesome. Obviously, we picked up Fever and everyone's sort of, saying, well, Feves, he's going to be the absolute mechanical whiz. We'll just feed him the ball and he'll get us goals. But we've sort of learned along the way that, we can just use that in our back pocket. Like, we shouldn't have to rely on him. We can all step up. And if we're just relying on Fever to score all the goals, then we'll just get lazy, myself and Kami. So we've certainly been working hard, and just having Fever there a bit of use certainly makes you want to try and, go for some cool plays as well, even though mine come off about 1 in 100 and Feves does about 9 out of 10 times he hits something good. So, yeah, it's awesome that everyone can step up. And I think in that second series, we didn't really play well, and it still went to game 7. So we just had to really reset. I know it's probably midnight for Kami as well, so I had to sort of wake him up a little bit over in New Zealand. But we got the job done, and yeah, it was good to reset, and really happy with the way we dealt with that last series.
Yeah, and CJ, like, the playstyle is just looking awesome. That was just absolutely dominant. You guys have put yourself in an awesome position to make the major. How do you feel like the new playstyle will go internationally?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a new play style. I think it's just the way we've been gelling and stuff. We've really been focusing sort of on our comms. And I think, again, I've always give a shout out to this bloke, but LBP, Lockie Parker, our coach, shout out to him, coach_LBP on Twitter. Give him a follow. He loves it. He's just really helped us with outside the game stuff. And I think that I've always been big on comms and stuff, but still didn't really realize how big of an impact that sort of has. Just gelling outside, hanging out, playing games with each other, and just forming a good bond, because that's what it really counts when you're in a grand final, with all the money on the line and stuff in a regional. It's just about, just trusting your mates. And I think that if we can just carry that on, I can't see why we wouldn't, if we did make it to the major, hopefully, why we couldn't sort of just continue that. Just a different mindset, I'd say.
Obviously, you picked up Fever. He's already really paying off, and I'm sure you guys are really enjoying your time together. Any last shout outs, last words that you might have about how the tournament goes, what your expectations are for the rest of the season?
No, onwards and upwards from here. I think we can certainly play a lot better. We've got more to show. We've got more to prove. We've probably... we'll still constantly consider ourselves the underdog, I guess. I think Ground Zero being the benchmark just because of how awesome their RLCS X was. And we've only had one split with Thieves, so we're still a relatively new team, even though everyone says how we're the second longest standing roster in the region, which is a joke, really, considering how new we are. Yeah, somehow. But just shout out to everyone. Shout out to Kami's mum. It was her birthday yesterday or the other day, so we got a good birthday present for her. Shout out to mum, dad, all the family. To Lisa, to all Thieves fam as well. Just all our supporters and all the Renegades fans. I know they've been jumping up and down a few Discords, messaging us and stuff. So shout out to them, get behind us, and hopefully we can have a really good first split, and hopefully we can, look towards that major.
Shout out to Fever's puppy as well, and I'll give an extra shout out. Make sure you guys go to twitch.tv/CJCJ and twitch.tv/KamiRL. They're both promising to regularly stream every night of the week, and it is a great time. They have a lot of fun, and they obviously play some very good Rocket League. Congratulations once again. I hope you celebrate it, and have a great night, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. See you later.